Hello, Hayden Williams here, and you're listening to the Man in the Mirror podcast. It's the podcast for you if you're interested in male skincare, grooming, fragrance, and all that good stuff. Each week I talk to a male guest about those key items in their bathroom cabinet, those things they can't do without. We talk about their life, about work. And this week I'm delighted to tell you I'm joined by Ryan Hall, who is one of the co-founders and the chief creative officer at a company called HOOHAA. HOOHAA. Now, HOOHAA are a fragrance subscription service. They do things just a little bit differently, and they curate and edit for their customers each month. Really interesting to hear how it works and what Ryan has to say about it. I think you're going to enjoy this one. So without further ado, it's Ryan Hall. I'm Hayden Williams. It's Man in the Mirror. Let's go. Welcome along to another episode of Man in the Mirror. And this week, I'm delighted to be joined by Ryan from HOOHAA. Hi, Ryan.
Hello. How's it going?
I'm really well. How are you?
I'm good. Delighted to be here. Thank you so much for having me. It's always nice to be invited to these sorts of things, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like a chat. And it's really nice to chat to people from the industry, but also that, you know, people have got real insight into particular areas. And I was just really interested to find out a bit more about what you do at HOOHAA and also just a bit more about you and products that you like. But the first thing it'd be great to find out is I suppose where your interest in fragrance and I suppose where it ended up in a business. But did that come from childhood, Ryan, or is it a more recent thing?
Yeah. I guess I've kind of always had this fascination with smell. It probably goes back to my youth when my mum would be getting me ready to go out. We could be going out for dinner because, you know, my mum always used to take me out, even when I was very young, and she'd spray on some of my dad's aftershave, and it was definitely technically aftershave back in the 80s.
That's what we called it then.
Yeah, exactly. And it was always part of the ritual of getting ready and, you know, making sure I looked smart as a carrot, as my mum would say. And
I've not heard that before, smart as a carrot.
Maybe it's a northern thing, I don't know. And, you know, so that was kind of 80s, so, you know, pre 10 years old. And then kind of the stretch 10 to 20 was more if it was your dad's aftershave, can you remember what sort of things? Are we talking like proper old spicy Blue Stratos world? Or we are talking. I actually spent some money on eBay and I bought all these classics back.
Did you?
So yeah, absolutely. So Kouros, absolutely number
amazing.
One there.
Yeah, you
know, and then some classics like, you know, Eternity and Obsession and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah,
but very, very firmly, Kouros was always the scent memory from that age. And then when I was, you know, that kind of the 90s child, 10 to 20 years old, it was more the case of you'd get a bottle at Christmas.
Yeah. And
Mum would always buy whatever the new Pong was, you know, whether that was Boss Orange or CK1 or, you know, Very Valentino, for example. You'd always get one at Christmas. And
would you get one of those sets that maybe had like a soap with it or like a toilet bag or, you know, or like a big gym bag or something like that?
Yeah, you know, you'd get I definitely preferred the ones where you got like the shower gel. Shower gel, the aftershave. Not so bothered about the travel case and stuff.
No, because you can have too many of those, I think. You can just end up with too many of the sort of same things.
One good one should see you, right?
Yeah, definitely. No, but shower gel, having the full range, I mean, that I'm all for that, smelling of the same thing throughout.
Bit of layering, as we'd call it in modern day perfume speak, I guess.
Exactly, yeah.
And I guess my real turning point with fragrance, beyond the world of designer and stuff that you'd buy in a department store or probably Boots, was when I went to university.
Yeah.
And very quickly became friends with a lovely chap, still friends with him today, called Murray. And he was a mega cool Southerner, and I was a very simple, narrow-minded Geordie. And he'd been working in fashion stores like Maharishi and all sorts in London. I don't know why we hung out together, because in theory, you're like chalk and cheese in that respect.
And did he have the Maharishi trousers? I bet he did.
Yeah, absolutely.
With all the like dragons on them and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
So he got me into that. I mean, obviously,
Very cool.
kind of, had a horrible mullet at the time, given it was the early 2000s. But he used to wear Comme des Garçons too.
Okay.
And I could not get my head around how incredible this fragrance was. And I mean, I think today I've got currently 3 bottles on the go in different places. Is still my go-to fragrance. It feels like it's changed a bit over the years. Perhaps it hasn't. Maybe it's just mellowed in comparison to stuff that's on the market. But that was the turning point.
Yeah.
And I just lost my mind to a world of unique stuff.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
A nose opener, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you're in a sort of unique and privileged position in that you've made it your, I no doubt it sounds like it was something that was, something you found real joy in and a real interest in as a younger man, but it became a business, and there's Vaunt, your brand, and HOOHAA now, which we'll talk about. But were you always on that trajectory? Did you think, I'd like to do more with this rather than just, enjoy wearing it? Did you sort of, was the business connection something that you made readily, or did that come along a bit later on?
It was opportunistic, I think. So yeah. I'd say it was, I'm a big believer in right time, right place, right opportunity, and also right people. And where I'd got to in my career, which was absolutely nothing to do with beauty or fragrance or anything like that. It was basically digital transformation, consulting, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But when I'd got to in my career, an opportunity arose itself, and Lorenzo and I were friends, also with a passion. And we were at a kind of juncture in our careers where we're going, we need something that's a little bit more meaningful.
Yeah.
And something that's a little bit more kind of strikes the chords of our passion. Not that I wasn't passionate about the other stuff, but honestly, it started as a pet project.
So you were mates before you two?
Yeah.
So Lorenzo's your partner in the business?
Business partner. Yeah. He wishes he was my life partner. And sometimes I actually wish he was mine because, he's such a lovely guy.
Yeah.
It was, we actually met on the most alternative dating site ever, which was borrowmydoggy.com.
Did you? I thought you were going to say LinkedIn or something like that. Like something really dry.
There's a lot of love on LinkedIn, I can assure you. There's definitely some interest in prospecting going on. So my, now wife, but then girlfriend and I were planning on getting a dog. So we went on Borrow My Doggy, found a wonderful little sausage dog called Milo, and went on the doggy date. So you get to meet the dog with the parents. So you don't just kind of go and nab someone's dog.
No, get arrested.
And it was Lorenzo and his beautiful wife, Keely. And it turned out that, in terms of kind of careers at that point, we actually were operating in incredibly similar circles, just hadn't quite met, which was strange for that industry.
I love this.
And we just hit it off and just became friends. And then obviously jumped forward to the opportunistic point of going, well, we could have a bit of fun with this, and then it spiraled from there. Really,
I love that you made that such a profound relationship through Borrow My Doggy. My only experiences with Borrow My Doggy were really unsatisfying, and I started to have this real fear and doubt in myself. And before we got a dog, I thought that would be a good way to try and do it, but I just got completely ghosted on there. Like nothing happened. I don't know if I was too keen, not keen enough. We didn't send out many, but I certainly didn't make a business partner and a mate out of it, but we have a dog now, so
that's good. Well, you got that. That's I didn't have a dog, so
you don't.
No, we never actually ended up getting the dog.
Didn't you? And Lorenzo doesn't even live here anymore, so you can't borrow his doggy.
No, exactly. So. So there's no dogs. There's no. Well, I'd love to. Thank you. There's no dogs in the current, business relationship.
Oh no. So Ryan, tell me about. It was broader than fragrance. I think one of the things I like to find out about on Man in the Mirror is your relationship with grooming and skincare and all that good stuff. And I don't know about you, but I sort of came into it first through fragrance, but slowly got I think invariably you get more interested in those other sort of worlds that are around it, and you start to care a bit more about, I'd like to, I'm putting these beautiful fragrances on. I want to, it'd be nice to get like we said, the body lotion that goes with it, or whether it's home fragrance or skincare and all that stuff. And I think I'm still, learning about those areas, and by no means, certainly not an expert, but I'm really interested in it. And I wondered about your relationship with those other bathroom essentials. Do you have a kind of regime that you kind of stick to? So, are there certain things that you really like to use? So, for example, with shaving, do you have a good shaving system? I notice you're a bearded man, so do you have to look after that quite carefully?
No, I actually don't look after the beard at all.
Tell me you put some beard moisturiser in it, Ryan.
I put moisturiser on. I don't use a beard specific one. So the biggest treat for me possible is to go to a Turkish barber and get slapped around and flamed and
flames
chopped
in the ears,
up, and all that kind of good stuff. I mean, that is such a lovely bit of therapy. Not expensive. I mean, there's some amazing places in Hatton Garden you get like the full works like 40 quid. Yeah. So that's really that's the closest I get to any proper full-on skincare regime. But at home, I've got some some actual wired hair clippers which I use on my face, which possibly shouldn't, but it just gives the cleanest cut. Yeah. I don't think any of those little micro razors that have the guards do a very good job at all. So I bought some, not expensive, but Wahl barber's clippers, and I use them on my face. Or if I'm getting my hair cut and it's not at a Turkish barber's, I'll get them to do it as well. Yeah. I think you're right, though. I've ended up with this electric, well, it's, supposed to be one of those, I don't know, 5-in-1, whatever, that shaves everything. But you're right. The guard bit's the irritating bit, because it just fills up with hair, doesn't it? And you're constantly having to sort of brush it out, and it just seems to take forever. Whereas, as you say, when they do it at barbers and they just use one of those normal, clip-on sort of grading things, it's much better, much easier. Much better. That's smart. I should have bought one of those. I just don't think that. I have recently bought a little tiny beard trimmer, but that's just for like cutting in the edges. Yeah, and that is an absolute weapon. It's a phenomenal. I think it was like 20 quid. It looks disastrous.
Like a battery powered thing, or
it's battery powered. It's actually, you stick a USB-C charger in it. It's off Amazon. It's this kind of things that you get hit up on Instagram, like this kind of wonder trimmer. Yeah, and it looks so dodgy, and they've got horrible patterns on them. But I tell you what, I mean, this thing is fantastic, and the battery lasts for months. So that's how I tidy up the tops and tails or the edges at home, and then beyond that. My regime probably for the last at least 4 years has been based around Patrick's products. So I don't know if you tried Patrick's.
Do you know, only very recently, and thank you to lovely Charlie who looks after PR. But yeah, I'm a recent convert, and it's amazing. Now tell me what you use then.
So I use the foaming face wash. Yeah. I haven't tried the scrub. I might try the scrub actually, because I turned 41 last month, so I'm going to need all the help I can get moving forward, I think.
You're a young man, Ryan.
Well, yeah, you say that, but it's a slippery slope past 41. I can already feel the ground eroding. Yeah.
Wait till you get to 49, then we'll talk.
Oh, you don't like 49. Oh, you must. Let's hear about your skin regime. That's what everyone needs to hear about.
A lot of Patrick's.
So, yeah, well, exactly. So foaming face wash. I also use their shampoo and conditioner as well. Primarily one, I mean, it is a miracle product. I do.
Do you use that the black bottle with the sort of thickening shampoo?
Yeah. And it smells amazing. It feels amazing on your hair. It feels the foaming face wash just smells absolutely phenomenal. And then I do normally use their moisturiser, the anti-aging cream, the black one. But I have been using. Have you heard of Triumph and Disaster?
I have. Yeah, I haven't used it. It always, and I'm completely wrong on this, because I don't think it is anything to do with. It always feels like it should be something to do with the motorbikes. No, it's nothing to do with that, is it? It's not. Oh, is it?
No, it's not. But the branding it has
got that look, hasn't it? Sort of retro motorbikey kind of manly thing.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Is it good?
But their Gameface moisturiser is it's just got this extra thickness to it, and it's not sticky, it's not greasy at all. It absorbs beautifully well, but it's just something about the weight that it has, that makes you feel like you've really put something on. So, you know, I'm alternating between Patrick's Moisturiser and the Gameface at the moment as I reorder stuff.
And that's the holy grail, isn't it? Because you want to feel something that's got some efficacy and is actually doing something, but at the same time, there's nothing worse than sort of feeling all greasy and you've been left with this kind of sticky layer that doesn't absorb, isn't it?
No, I can't stand that. And then from a hair perspective, again, I have used the Patrick's product stuff a lot.
They've got a good sort of hair wax, haven't they? Sort of paste thing. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it is brilliant, but the length that I've got my hair at the minute, it's just it's not quite malleable enough, and I'm very lazy and time poor in the morning.
Yeah.
So like you just got to work that little bit more to get it ready to put it on.
Yeah,
I just don't have time for it. And you might have come across Solid State fragrance. It comes in like a little middle. Yeah. Well, they've got a hair product.
Oh, okay, have they?
So they've got a hair product called Fat Wax, and it's got a fantastic, like a viscous format to it.
Yeah.
And it's just got this brilliant feel. It rubs in nicely to your hand. You can do it quickly. It's got good hold. So that's what I'm using on the hair at the minute as well, which I really enjoy. It's good. And it smells pretty good as well.
That's great. And what I'll do in the show notes is list some of these products so that people can check them out. But I'm really chuffed that you were talking about Patrick's, and because I know it's not the cheap. I mean, it is a real premium product, isn't it? It's not the cheapest, and almost the whole aesthetic of it. It's kind of, they go along that kind of racing car. It just feels very luxe, doesn't it? Very simple. There's not a lot of sort of messaging and stuff, but it feels very luxurious and expensive and Formula One-y kind of.
Yeah, the packaging is insane. And I interviewed Patrick a couple of years ago, actually.
Oh, did you? Because he's people don't know, and you'll know much more, but he's an Australian guy who set up a hairdressing place in Sydney. Is it Bondi or something like that?
Bondi, yeah. But he was a tradie before that.
A tradie?
Yeah, a tradie. It's my best Australian accent. And
my shit.
he couldn't, for the salon that he set up, or well, probably not call a salon, probably something cooler than that. He just couldn't find good enough products for the clientele, which is why he's now creating probably the best products on the market. Actually, there's probably no probably about it, but he's real rock and roll. I mean, he's a super cool dude.
Is he?
And yeah, he's really cool. I mean,
it's a big old brand now. It's doing well, isn't it?
Yeah, well deserved. I mean, have you seen the new collaboration, the Batman collaboration?
Yes.
Well, Wayne Enterprises.
I've seen it online. Yeah.
I've not had it in the flesh either. But I mean, that to me, I mean, he puts so much effort into the packaging, and he's a big Dieter Rams fan, and big Porsche fan. So he did some special edition packaging based on, I think it might have been Nardo Grey. He had these beautiful quotes from Dieter Rams about simplicity and design, and the amount of effort they put in there, he deserves everything, every success.
Because on a very geeky level, like the shampoo, so it's a very simple bottle, and I'm describing this and it's difficult for audio, but there must be sort of springs in it or something. There's a lot of design going on in that bottle, because somehow there's some sort of spring-loaded thing that delivers the shampoo. It's not, it's
and
pretty, it's premium
in
stuff.
The hair wax, it's super premium. But I don't know how well known this fact is, but the hair product, the tubs, comes in these little kind of relatively flat rectangular things with this kind of special clasp on. And I'd have to go back to the recording to double check the stat, but the degrees of the corners inside the actual thing are like the perfect average size of a man's finger, so you'll never ever have any waste.
No.
I mean, it's like that level of detail. Anyone who does that deserves success. I mean, that's just phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh, it was really good.
And there's something else. Like, I think the angle of the clasp is the angle of a Lamborghini Aventador spoiler and stuff like this. It's just like, it's so cool.
And I bet he's got some fancy cars, right? If he's into has he got some flash sports cars? You talk about that.
I think he's got a future. It wasn't in the podcast actually, but I think he's driving around in a future classic Porsche at the minute.
Nice.
I forget which model it is, but he's got a very, very nice Porsche going on. But it's, part of the image, right?
Yeah. You got to live the lifestyle. Well, we've talked plenty about. We've done really well for Patrick's products, even though he's not on. But yeah, really good stuff.
They can send us some goodies, right?
Yeah, well, that'd be good. Come on, Charlie, hook us up. I want to know a bit more about HOOHAA because I first encountered it, I guess, 18 months, 2 years ago, and it definitely seemed like it was doing something different. And maybe for listeners who aren't so aware of fragrance subscription model and what HOOHAA does, it'd be great if you could explain a little bit more about how it all works.
Absolutely. Well, HOOHAA is, as you said, fragrance discovery, and there are obviously other providers out there in the market. The thing that we do differently is it's an entirely curated experience.
Yeah.
Because finding fragrance, even if you start very simply by gender, which, we don't really believe in fragrance for a specific gender. We believe fragrance is for everyone. But, demystifying the notes and the descriptions and trying to understand even where you start is difficult, even if you do understand and are in the niche fragrance space.
Yeah.
Never mind anyone who's out there just looking for something better.
Yeah.
So you might be wearing Sauvage, you might be wearing Creed, you might be wearing a Penhaligon's or whatever it is. Getting into discovering fragrances, it's not easy.
No.
It's a very welcoming space, but it's tricky. So our view of the world was, let's just make it really, really simple. Let's give people 3 different front doors. Mild, medium, spicy, less adventurous, kind of adventurous, and very adventurous. So how do you want to typify them? So we've got 3 edits. And our first edit is Easy Does It. Very accessible fragrances. And then the second one is Buckle Up. So you'll start to get a little bit more kind of challenging fragrances in there, something that might push the boundaries a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then you have Take Me to Mars, which it varies. Some of them are completely wild, if I'll be honest. We've had some real crackers through the Take Me to Mars edit. And, it's a sliding scale, so some of them are a little bit closer to Buckle Up, but challenging and interesting in their own right. And that's the core of our business. We then help, if someone is looking to add a full bottle to a collection, we're there to help.
So you can buy full bottles on the site as well, yeah?
We can.
Yeah.
And we also are creating a range of HOOHAA editions. So last Christmas, we launched our first HOOHAA edition, which is us working with incredibly talented up-and-coming perfumers, or perhaps slightly less well-known perfumers. So last December, everyone got Cosmic Incense.
Which was so good. Yeah, you kindly sent me one. Yeah, it was really good. And he's a talented, I can't remember his name, but a very talented really talented young perfumer, isn't he?
He is a genius, honestly. And I think Cosmic Incense as a full bottle was probably one of our best-selling fragrances as a full bottle.
Yeah.
And it's actually we haven't announced it yet, but it is coming back on to retail very, very soon. I don't know when this will go out, but quite possibly even already on retail again for the winter season. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And this year we have another edition launching with another wonderful perfumer. I'll not spoil the surprise now.
No.
But everyone will be getting this new fragrance again in December.
Right.
So it's a great opportunity for us to dip into the product development side of things under the HOOHAA brand. I know we touched on Vaunt earlier, which is obviously another brand that we have in the stable.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be able to have that real flexibility with additions and just play around and have fun and work with whoever's willing to work with us.
Oh, and it's such what struck me, there's so much noise online and new people come along, whether it's new perfume brands, but with this particular service, as you described, Brian, the real sort of no bullshit, like clarity in terms of what you were trying to say, which definitely runs in sort of contrast to a lot of perfume brands, doesn't it? And I imagine when you were doing a lot of the research and before it all came up, it felt like that's a real strength of yours, and it felt like something that you were sort of pushing against, in that you didn't want all this kind of florid language and, impenetrable words and descriptors, it felt like trying to strip some of that stuff away is a really helpful thing for consumers in general. And particularly, as you say, why would we assume that everyone has that kind of degree of knowledge, or actually has that degree of appetite for bullshit? Like even if you were someone that didn't know too much about perfume, but you might not want, it might put you off to have a perfume that's described, as though you're an angel come down from heaven, or that it's all candy floss. How those things are described, and I have a certain amount of sympathy with all that, because it's difficult, right? It's just a sort of intangible thing that people are trying to describe, and how do you differentiate one from the other? But what I loved about HOOHAA was kind of peeling those layers away and not treating it, as though it doesn't matter, but kind of making it about language that people can understand, and offering, making it really sort of consumer friendly. And was that something that was important from the get-go? Yeah,
we wanted to humanize it.
Yeah.
And, to a degree, democratize good perfume.
Yeah.
And make it accessible for people. Whether you're a collector, whether you're looking for the next signature scent, whatever your need state, we wanted to just get the good stuff into people's hands and noses and let them enjoy it and experiment with it, and, get their hands on stuff that they might not necessarily go out and buy a full bottle of, because they don't know whether they're going to like living with it.
Yeah.
So it's really about just trying to create accessibility to some brilliant products. And, along the way, not try and get in the way of the brands, and really showcase the amazing talent that's out there.
Yeah.
Because there are so many phenomenal perfumers and brand owners in the niche space.
Yeah. And that's it.
We wanted to just be a platform.
Yeah. And they've got, great stories to tell, whether it's about them personally or their motivations and reasons for making what they make. And to me, that's always felt genuine and true and real enough. You don't have to add all these extra layers of kind of narrative on top of it that just seems extraneous and pointless. And I think with HOOHAA as well, I mean, we talked about this subscription idea, which probably for some people is kind of not the sort of natural way they think about perfume. And I've had one or two experiences with this where there's a subscription service, but they want to send you like a whole, 100 mils or 50 mils every month or two. And that just feels, that doesn't feel like something I want to get involved with, because it feels like too much of a commitment, and it puts a pressure on you to then use the one up before the next one comes and all this. And I like what you're doing here with is it 7.5 mils or 7.5?
It's 10.
10, which is a good amount, right? Because you can use that sort of liberally through the month, and then the next one comes. It doesn't feel like a massive commitment, and of course cost as well. It's not, you're not having to drop 60, 70 quid every month or two. Yeah, it feels like, you can have a kind of nice casual relationship with this fragrance and see if you want to move it beyond. It's horrible analogy, but beyond the first date sort of thing. Do you want to take it further?
It's got a third base. 10 mil. I mean, some might argue it's slightly too much. It's definitely generous.
Yeah,
it's definitely enough. So, like you said, you can be liberal, because the last thing you want is, when you get a 2 mil spray of something, squirt, it's gone.
Yeah, that can be one go or two goes, can't it?
It's just not enough. And also there's a sense of kind of letting people collect within it as well. We don't want it to run out, because again, it's a commercial business, but at the same time, we're here to just let people discover and enjoy. It's an experience as much as anything else. So we don't necessarily want it to run out before the end of the month, because if you've enjoyed it, you could always come back and get something from the back catalogue and get another 10 mil. You don't need to buy a 50 mil or full bottle or whatever size it comes in. But at the end of the month, you're probably going to have some left. And I think that's quite a nice place to be.
Yeah, definitely. And Man in the Mirror deals, primarily talking to men about products and fragrance and grooming and all that. Have you noticed, or I'm sure you have insight on on the site. Have you found that HOOHAA's been a particularly welcoming place for men? Have you are they a bigger share of the audience than women, or is that possible to say?
Yeah, and we're probably more female focused than men focused, actually. Yeah, and that's not deliberate. Let's put it this way. We're out to cater for whoever wants to experience fragrance. We don't look at the world through gender. We've been on a journey with our own brand. At the end of the day, it was founded by two white middle-aged guys. So, we've got a natural view of the world.
Yeah.
But we've got an amazing team around us that's enabled us to create a better market position.
Yeah.
And make sure that we're really inclusive as a brand.
Yeah.
And we've resulted in a pretty heavily skewed female audience, which is fantastic. We've attracted the people who wanted it.
Yeah.
That's not to say that there aren't a stack of guys that love the service and, they're very vocal about, the way that they enjoy it. People like yourself, Hayden. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter too much to us.
No.
As long as we're delivering value and something that customers are enjoying while they're part of the membership, then we're really happy.
No, you're totally right. And I think, ultimately, if it as a business owner, you want to sort of, like you say, serve as many people as want to come along, and it's just really interesting. And you're right. There's a really sort of broad offer, and it's not always that helpful with niche fragrance to talk about men or women. But a really kind of strong collection and something that caters for everyone, which is great. I mean, you talked a little bit earlier actually about being, is it 41 or have you just turned 41?
I've just turned 41.
Yeah. And I guess it's, these landmark birthdays and 40, and I've got 50 coming up, and I just think it's sort of interesting anyway. But what do you think about your appearance when you look in the mirror? Are you thinking, some people sort of hark back to a certain stage in their life, God, that was sort of peak me? Or are you someone that's sort of very happy with how you look now? Is it something that concerns you or not particularly?
Without sounding too vain, I do think about it every time I look in the mirror.
Yeah, yeah.
My appearance is important to me, not from a vanity perspective, but I like to feel like I'm presenting my persona.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess that's probably as simple as it.
Yeah.
Have I ever been peak Ryan? I don't know. I've done a consulting job barring the HOOHAA and Vaughan and whatnot, a consulting job for 20 years, and I've never been particularly sporty.
No, me neither.
And also I really enjoy food, and until recently, very, very much enjoy the drink as well.
Have you stopped drinking?
I have not stopped drinking. In comparison to what I used to drink, I've stopped drinking. So I'll drink a couple of times a month now. Wow.
That's quite a cutback.
Yeah. As a northerner, and someone coming from the agency consulting world where you'd be out 3 nights a week,
a lot of socialising. No, it's interesting. Yeah.
It just doesn't give me the benefit anymore.
Are you feeling better for it?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Definitely sleep better. I actually, there's a very few set of times where I'll have a couple of drinks and we go, oh, this is brilliant. Right people, right mood, right time. And it's fantastic. And then, because historically, I just don't get hangovers either. And then, you wake up the next morning, you still feel fine and fresh. Right? That to me is brilliant. And there's a few moments there, but, I had a couple of drinks on Friday. It was great, but it just wasn't really any benefit to it, to be honest. And, with 2 kids underfoot, I'd much rather be waking up, get woken up, more likely. And any time between 5 a.m. and 6:30 in the morning.
Goodness, right.
And feel frech. That to me is a much better benefit to, living than feeling hungover. It just doesn't, I just don't enjoy it, if I'm being really honest.
Yeah. That's really interesting. And in terms of doing, having any procedures, is that ever anything that would cross your mind in terms of having sort of tweakments or doing things to your face. Would you ever do that?
I don't think I ever will.
No.
And that's not that I don't need them or I don't agree with them, because I think everyone should just do whatever makes them happy.
Yeah, exactly.
But, barring, could someone just get rid of a couple of the extra chins that I've got and a couple of the extra spare tires around my belly, that would be handy. But I can't ever imagine me doing anything like that.
No. Because funny, I mean, obviously there's people that would, there's obviously procedures that you could actually undergo for something, for things like that. And not that you need to, but you wouldn't ever consider any kind of sort of medical procedure. That's not something that would appeal.
I don't think it's that I wouldn't consider it. I think I probably would consider it. But I go through kind of fits and starts. Like I said, I'm not really particularly sporty, but I do have quite a compulsive behavior. So at the minute, my current compulsion is rugby. So I've just started playing back with the local rugby team's veteran squad.
So do you train once a week?
Twice a week.
Oh, great. Oh, wow.
Which is a lot. So, and that'll go through a period of making me feel good and making me look better. And then I'll probably get bored of it and I'll go back to the bike or I'll go back to running or whatever it is. And that just keeps me ticking over. Yeah. Yes, I'd probably love to look a little bit slimmer and a little bit tighter and more toned, but
me too.
I don't think I've ever been there. So it's not like I'm missing out.
Yeah. Have you been bitten by the sort of Peloton bug? Have you been that guy yet? Got the old Peloton bike? That's a real thing.
Can't think of anything more boring than doing that.
People love it though, don't they? It's like a real cult now. Like people are really into the instructors on it, and it's a lot of money.
I can't watch sport either. I just find it so boring.
You're not a sort of football fan to what? You don't have a team or anything?
I'd rather play it.
Yeah.
And I have a team. I love to see Newcastle do well, but I have watched, I don't know, 2 or 4 football matches in my entire life, barring maybe a bit of World Cup, which is classified slightly different. But I'd much rather be out there hacking around than, being stuck in a saddle inside. I mean, I'd rather just go out on the bike than be sat inside.
Yeah, sounds good. And in terms of things that make you happy, Ryan, and they can be as, sort of trivial or the bigger stuff. What are the things that bring you joy outside of work and HOOHAA?
I mean, fragrances definitely are mood boosters for me.
Yeah, definitely.
I love to spray something on that really gives me a little bit of a buzz.
It works, doesn't it, as well, I think? Definitely sort of mood enhancer.
Yeah, definitely. My kids, when they're not screaming the house down, makes
probably
me
not
very
at
happy.
5:30. Yeah.
Well, I'm an early bird anyway, so actually it's not so bad. Yeah, I actually would much rather get up early than have to get up at night with them. Are they quite happy?
Are they little?
2 and 4. Okay. So they sleep through now. So when they're up, and that's okay. Obviously, just spending time with my wife, spending time with friends, cooking. Simple things, simple pleasures, mate.
And have you got a signature dish? What's like if someone was going to come up, come over unannounced, but something that you can kind of just bring together, and it's going to work. What would that be?
I think it'd be one of 3 things actually. I'm very good with steak.
Are you?
So I can cook a mean steak. And I do homemade chips in deep fried in lard as well, which some of your listeners are probably going to go, that's disgusting. But
no, that sounds amazing.
Come around and try them. So fillet steak chips, some sauteed broccoli would be a go-to. Sounds really boring, but actually getting pasta right is quite a trick.
Totally.
And I do a real cracking prawn linguine. I know that sounds really basic.
No, it sounds good.
I challenge you to tell me you could have had this better in a restaurant. And then if I'm trying to be a bit fancy, I'd probably do a saltimbocca, but with chicken rather than the veal. So bit of chicken, bit of sage leaf, bit of parma ham, sauteed in a masala sauce, some roast potatoes.
That sounds.
What more do you need?
Absolutely amazing.
And if you're lucky, maybe you could have all 3.
Yeah. It's all round to Ryan's for dinner. That sounds amazing. Oh, well, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you and to hear more about HOOHAA, hear about your signature dishes. And I'm going to put some notes in the show notes that'll talk about some of the products you mentioned, and of course HOOHAA, and sort of let people know how they can subscribe and find out a bit more. And it certainly sounds really interesting, that new collaboration for Christmas this year. And say HOOHAA's a fantastic service, and I think Ryan's explained so well how it offers something a bit different in the market and gives people an opportunity to just try in a more meaningful way, rather than just a little sample that you might pick up in a store, but just actually spend some time with the fragrance over a period of time and try it when you're in different moods and different outfits, and just how it properly works on the skin, rather than just a quick spritz in store. So heartily recommend it. Ryan, thank you for your time, and I really appreciate it, and it's lovely to talk to you tonight.
Lovely to talk to you as well. Thank you so much for having me on.
Pleasure. See you soon.
Thanks, Hayden. Take care, mate.
My thanks to Ryan. Such an interesting chat, and really great to hear more about his life and about HOOHAA. Something about it really chimes with me. I really like the kind of no-nonsense, kind of stripping away all the hyperbole, all of that kind of stuff. So I really recommend you check them out. Have a look at them on the website, which is www.hoohaa.co.uk, and that's HOOHAA. I think in some of my emails to Ryan, I was missing off an A, so don't make my mistake. It's hoohaa.co.uk. It's HOOHAA.co.uk. And on the socials, on Instagram, they are at Drop the HOOHAA. So drop, DROP, THE, HOOHAA, HOOHAA. So Drop the HOOHAA on Instagram. So go and check them out. I'm going to add some of the products that Ryan was talking about into the show notes. As I mentioned, I would. I'm a man of my word. Come back and see us again. Please subscribe, and it'd be great if you could leave me a review and tell everyone else what you think of the podcast. It's kind of a labor of love, but I love doing it, and I want to keep getting more guests and bringing these podcasts to you. So it'd be great if you could leave a review and tell your friends. You can find me at Man in the Mirror Pod on Instagram, so please go and follow me there. Thanks for joining me this week. Thanks to Ryan. Thanks to you, and I'll see you again next time on Man in the Mirror. Take care.